Long ago in the Valley of Elah, two great armies stood facing each other. On one side were the Israelites, God's chosen people. On the other side were the Philistines, a powerful enemy determined to conquer Israel. For days, both armies remained in their camps, waiting for the battle to begin. Then from the Philistine army, a giant warrior stepped forward. His name was Goliath. He was over 9 feet tall and wore heavy bronze armor from head to toe. His spear was enormous, and his strength was unmatched. As Goliath walked into the valley, fear spread throughout the Israelite camp. The giant shouted across the battlefield, "Choose one man to fight me. If he defeats me, we will serve you. But if I defeat him, you will serve us." Every day for 40 days, Goliath repeated the same challenge. And every day, no one answered. Even King Saul and his bravest soldiers were terrified. Meanwhile, far away from the battlefield, a young shepherd named David was caring for his father's sheep. David was the youngest son of Jesse. He was not a soldier. He had no armor. He had no military training. But David loved God and trusted him completely. One day, Jesse asked David to take food to his older brothers who were serving in Saul's army. David obeyed and traveled to the battlefield. When he arrived, he heard Goliath shouting his challenge. David looked around in surprise. He could not understand why everyone was afraid. "Who is this giant?" David asked. "Why does he insult the armies of the living God?" The soldiers explained how powerful Goliath was, but David was not afraid. He remembered how God had protected him while watching his father's sheep. He remembered fighting lions and bears that attacked the flock. God had delivered him before, and David believed God would help him again. Soon, word of David's courage reached King Saul. David was brought before the king. Saul looked at him and said, "You are only a boy. Goliath has been a warrior all his life." But David replied, "The Lord who rescued me from the lion and the bear will rescue me from this giant." Saul was amazed by David's faith. Finally, he agreed to let David fight. Saul offered David his armor, but the armor was too heavy. David removed it. Instead, he took his shepherd's staff, his sling, and a small pouch. Then he walked to a nearby stream and chose 5 smooth stones. Armed with only a sling and his faith in God, David walked onto the battlefield. As Goliath saw David approaching, he began to laugh. The giant looked down at the young shepherd boy and mocked him. "Am I a dog," Goliath shouted, "that you come to me with sticks?" But David stood firm. He looked directly at the giant and said, "You come against me with a sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." The battlefield became silent. Everyone watched. One giant, one shepherd boy. Then Goliath charged forward. At the same moment, David ran toward him. Quickly, David took a stone from his pouch and placed it in his sling. He swung the sling around and around. Then he released it. The stone flew through the air with incredible speed. It struck Goliath directly in the forehead. The giant stopped. He staggered. Then he fell face first to the ground. The mighty warrior had been defeated. The Philistines could not believe what they had seen. Their champion was gone. Fear filled their army, and they turned and ran. The Israelites shouted with joy and rushed forward in victory. That day, God used a young shepherd boy to defeat a giant. David's victory was not because of his strength. It was because of his faith. And the story of David and Goliath reminds us that no problem is too big when God is on our side. No matter how impossible a challenge may seem, faith in God is greater than any giant. The end.